Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, based on when you're watching this video. Joe here, your credit repair expert, and I hope you guys are doing amazing. All right, so hey, there's a couple of things before we dive into today's information. I want to make two promises to you guys. All right, promise number one is that this is the only video that you're going to need in order to repair your credit. Of course, there's a lot of videos out there, so much information out there, a lot of credit repair companies, but I am going to make you two promises. The first promise is number one is I'm going to provide all the information that you're going to need in order to repair your credit. Everything's going to be done on this one video. You're not going to have to go and research everything. Of course, if you'd like to, that's great, and compare the information I'm going to cover here with everything else you've learned, whichever way you're researching on repairing your credit. The second promise I will make you, I am going to make it at the end of the video. And there's a reason behind that. And of course, I know that you can easily stop the video right now. Fast forward, fast forward to the end of the video. That would void that promise, and you'll understand why I say that. But I will make two promises. First promise is that this is the only video that you're going to need. I am going to cover everything, all the information you're going to need in order to repair your credit. I'm also going to cover what credit repair companies do, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, things you should be saying, not saying. I'm going to cover a couple of things about our company. I want to kind of talk a little bit about something personal to me, just so you guys can kind of, a couple of things. One, know where I come from as far as why is it that I believe that this is the only video that you're going to need. And then also I'm going to cover, where did we get this information as a corporation? All right, so let's go ahead and dive right into this, guys. And if you guys don't have a lot of time, make sure to save this video. It's going to be, again, it's going to be lengthy because I am going to cover everything you need. So I would say go ahead and if you need credit repair, and make sure to save this video if you don't have the amount of time the video does play, or save it so you can watch it in parts. But I wanted to go ahead and cover everything you're going to need in one video. All right. So this is the truth about credit repair, guys. And again, my name is Joe, and I want to start off telling you a little bit about myself. And again, you'll see the importance as we go along, why that is that I want to share what not only my experience, but how this affected me as far as my credit is concerned. So I did serve in the Army for 13 years. I was stationed in Germany during the Cold War. I know I'm aging myself with that. I served in a couple of, I went to Iraq during the Gulf War, which I am going to talk a little bit about what happened to me as far as my credit was concerned while I was on deployment, and the things that I did, and the things that I've learned way before I got into the finance industry. The other thing is I did run Honda's finance department for over 10 years. I was in that industry for 15 years, up until the time a friend of mine who owns a mortgage company reached out to me, and he asked me if I would come and do mortgage loans for his mortgage company. At that time, I went ahead and went to study to get my loan officer's license. I don't hang my license anywhere at this current moment, just because I made a decision not to go to that route, which, everything happens for a reason. So that was a good learning experience for me. But I've been in the finance industry going on a little over 18 years altogether. So I've looked at credit from both aspects, from repairing it and also from looking at credit in order to give somebody a loan. All right. So, in the way I got introduced to the credit repair industry is while I was doing finance for Honda. I used to have this finance manager would come into my office, and he would ask me for what in the car business we call them dead deals, right? So in the car business, if we can't get a deal done, we would put it in a pile that we call it the dead pile. So there was no bank that would touch these clients. And I mean, it was so bad that if somebody was coming in to get a $7,000 loan and they had $6,000 down, they still wouldn't get approved. So that's how bad their credit was. So we called them dead deals, right? So he would come in my office all the time, and he'd be asking me for my dead deals. And I'm like, I'm thinking, okay, so if I couldn't get this finance, I know that I talked to almost every lender that I know that would do this deal. But I finally asked him, what are you doing with these dead deals, right? And he told me I'm signing them up for credit repair. So I'm like, credit repair? What do you mean credit repair? So anyway, fast forward, he introduced me to the owner of our corporation. He and I became real good friends. And after seeing results with the clients that I was giving to my friend who was a finance manager at the time, uh, giving them those deals, and then months later selling them, getting them financed with a car, I kind of said, okay, let me take a look and see uh, what it is that this credit repair industry is all about, right? So um, then I got introduced to the owner of our corporation. He and I became real good friends. He's taught me everything that I know today. That's made me an expert. Of course, I've been in the finance industry, so I've seen credit. Uh, but the one thing that I did learn when I first started learning about credit repair was something that I personally had not really an issue, but like I was saying, I was in the military when I got deployed. Uh, the first time to Iraq, I took a $10,000 loan from Bank of America. When I got back, that went into collections because, of course, I was in deployment and I wasn't able to pay for that payment. So what I did do is I went to Bank of America right after I got back and I said, hey, I've got the money in my bank. I never used it. You guys put it in collections and it's hurting my credit. So I went from a high 700 credit score into the 500s. Of course, back at that time, I don't know how it is right now with the military, but back then, you would have to have a talk with your first sergeant. Why is it that your credit is bad? Now, I don't know if they still do that in the military. I've been out for quite some time, but I had to have a talk with my first sergeant. First sergeant said, hey, what's going on? So I went to Bank of America and said, hey, listen, I want to go ahead and pay. I got the money in my savings. I also have, the interest, if you want me to pay you interest, but I need this off my report in order to repair my credit. So at that time, I was thinking, I thought, hey, that's the right thing to do. So what I ended up doing, they're like, well, we sold it to a collection company. You need to talk to them. But I'm going, but I took the loan out with you. So they gave me the number to the collection company. I called the collection company. They were wanting to charge me $15,000. They're like, we're gonna and at the time, not knowing anything about credit or how it works, I went ahead and said, hey, listen, uh, I don't have that much money in my account, but I do have what bank I originally, and they're like, okay, we'll tell you what, we're going to go ahead and settle for $8,000. And I'm thinking, okay, that's a great deal. We went from 10 to 15, now back down to 8, not knowing that they purchased that information for pennies on the dollar, right? So I went ahead and paid the $8,000, and I'm going, okay, my credit score should go up. The only thing that I did was reset the clock for 7 more years. So at that time, I probably had that on my report for about 24 months, 26 months. So I'm thinking 5 more years, that should be already coming off. But because I paid that collection, now it was on there for 7 more years. So it took almost 9 years for that to come off of my credit, right? So it eventually came off my credit. And that was way before I got into the finance industry. This was back in the uh, 93, 94 time frame. But anyway, fast forward. So paying what I learned, right? A very expensive lesson, right? Because come to find out, they probably spent like $3,000 for my name, my information. So I pretty much pleaded guilty to that, and we're going to talk about what that means. I pleaded guilty to that particular account, and it stayed on my credit. My credit score did not go up. It actually went down because of the fact that I paid it, and I pleaded guilty to that particular item, and it stayed on my credit. So paying something that's already in collections will not repair your credit, will not increase your credit score, and it's not going to come off your credit report for 7 more years. So when you plead guilty to something like that, and here's what I mean about pleading guilty, right? So what and it's different than you going to maybe court for a ticket or something like that. What the Fair Credit Reporting Act, right? And there's hundreds of laws that are written in the Fair Credit Reporting Act, says that if something is not correct on your report, it has to come off. So if they misspelled if the address wasn't correct, they reported it, they didn't report it on time. the amount was not correct. They couldn't prove the amount. Any one of those violations needs to come off from my report. So of course, first of all, the loan was originally for 10,000. They settled for 8, but they had reported $15,000 charge off on my report, which was not true. Now I didn't know this right at the time, but I just wanted it off my report, thinking that if I paid it, it's going to come off my report. So, but it does. That's not how it works. So doing the right thing wasn't doing the right thing, if that makes any sense. So paying a collection a debt that's in collections is not going to take it off your credit report. It's not going to fix your credit. And all you're doing is pleading guilty and resetting that clock for 7 more years. All right. So, and I want to apologize about the lighting, because our office is out by the lake, so the sun keeps coming in and out, so the lighting goes. But anyway, so that's number one, is paying something that's already in collection. So what the way you remove that, right? There's a couple of things, right? So most credit repair companies out there, and not talking bad about them, but I think that it's important that you understand what the process is that a credit repair company is going to take in order to try to remove these items from your report, right? So there's 2 ways that you're going to do that. One is you're going to try to do it yourself, right? You're going to watch all these videos. You're going to try to do it yourself. You're going to read as much as you can. You're going to Google. You're going to talk to friends. Whichever way, you're going to try to get the information to permanently remove these off of your report. Okay. Now, the word permanently removing, that typically doesn't exist with a credit repair company. And the reason behind that is the processes they're taking. So the first question that I would say to ask a credit repair company, if you're going to sign up with one, is this permanently going to be off my report? Can you guarantee that this is going to stay off my credit once you remove it? I guarantee you that they're not going to guarantee that, right? Because they just don't. Most credit repair companies don't guarantee that, because they know that that's going to come back on your credit at some point because of the processes, right? Now, where we got our information from, we as a corporation, is 21 years ago, the chief disputing officer of Experian reached out to the owner of our corporation and said, hey, I've been the chief disputing officer of Experian for 13 years. I left Experian because I didn't like what they were doing, and I want to teach you how to remove these things in a way where they don't come back on your credit, and how to have better success in removing it, because she would see credit repair companies try to remove these things from the credit, and because of the way they were doing it, she was able to put them back on their credit at the time because of the way they're doing it. So she knows the ins and out of the credit reporting agencies, right? Of course, she worked for Experian, but the processes for Equifax and TransUnion are going to be the same. They're just different companies, right? Because they all have to they have the guidelines through the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So we took the information that she taught us, and we've never deviated from that in 21 years. So everything that I'm going to talk about is coming from information that came from the chief disputing officer of Experian, that she worked with them for 13 years. So when you work with a company, you know the ins and outs. So we trusted that and we went with it. And so most credit repair companies out there are able to remove about 30 to 40% of things off your credit. The problem is that almost 20% of that stuff comes on, leaving you about 20-25% of things that will permanently stay off your credit, which, by the way, is going to help your credit score, but typically doesn't put you in a situation where you're able to purchase whatever it is you want. We, on the other hand, will remove 85 to 90%, 95%. That's our average. We do remove 100% a lot of times, but what we've noticed is that our average is about 85 to 90%, right? 95%. That's what the average of what we remove. Now, we do come with a 7-year guarantee that if anything ever comes back on your credit report, all you got to do is pick up the phone, give us a call, and let us know, hey, that came back on our credit, and we'll go and remove it for free. And by the way, that hasn't happened in over 20 years. All right. It's been over 20 years since we had anything come back on anyone's credit the way we repair credit. All right. So here's the different ways that you're able to try to remove things from your credit report. Number one is you sign up with a credit repair company. And by the way, 21 years ago, when we opened our doors, there was only one other credit repair company out there. In those 21 years, we've seen credit repair companies come and go, come and go. And you can probably Google credit repair companies and click on some of those are their websites are still up, but they don't do business anymore. And that's because there's a lot of fly-by-nights. There's a lot of multi-level marketing companies that do credit repair. So there's a lot of, there's people that watch a YouTube video and then now they call themselves, credit repair experts, or they're credit repair consultants, or whatever, gurus, or there is all that information out there. So this video is designed to help you kind of weed out those, what are the questions I should be asking when I'm going through one of the credit repair companies, right? So getting back to the way most credit repair companies repair your credit is they'll go into, let's say you call credit repair company ABC, all right? They're going to ask you for your information, of course, name, address, social, your credit card number, and then a lot of companies go where you can do, there's no contract, we'll do month by month, and we'll start repairing your credit month by month. It might be a super low fee, but it's a forever fee, right? Kind of like a gym membership, right? You sign up for gym and you never use it, but it's there. So watch out for those, right? But so those credit repair companies, what they do is you'll put your information into Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion.com. So they go on the website, they look at all the things that are negative on your credit. They'll click on dispute on one item in Experian or Equifax or TransUnion, or maybe two items, and then they charge you for that, right? Next month, they're going to go and click on the same two items on the next report. The next month, they're going to charge you, go after the same two items in the following report, or they're going to go after two of them on each, or one on each, or they're going to go after, but their entire business model, not that this is wrong or illegal or anything, but their entire business model is designed to drag the process out 12, 24, 36 months. We've even seen some clients come to us after being signed up with a credit repair company for 4 years with almost zero results. So that's not a good thing. Here's the unfortunate thing. Right now, there is no guidelines or no federal laws or any kind of licensing board to be able to, or to have to do credit repair. All right, so there's no licensing board. Kind of, if you wanted to go do mortgage loans before 2008, you didn't need a license. Now, because what happened to us in 2008, now everything's changed. Now you have to be licensed in order to do mortgage loans, which is a good thing, right? Especially when I went through that entire process. That was probably the hardest exam I ever took. But same thing with being a finance manager for a dealership. They'll send you to finance school. So, and there's no license involved there, but you have to go through those processes in order to talk to someone about finance or do a loan. But to be a credit repair company, there's no licensing involved. You can just put up a website and say you are and start charging people, and that is not a good thing. So the questions you should be asking, and the most important question is, are you licensed and bonded with the Attorney General? Now, they don't have to be, but if they are, you have a protection to where you're not having to lose money and not getting anything out of it. Because if they're licensed and bonded with the Attorney General and they don't do what they said they're going to do, and you call them up, say, hey, you guys have been charging me for 3 years and you haven't even done anything, and they have a license or a license and bond with the Attorney General, you call them and they're like, hey, we're not going to give you your money back. You call the Attorney General, Attorney General calls them, and if they just go, hey, we're not paying their money back, or we're out of business, the Attorney General turns around, takes the money out of the bond and gives it to you. All right. So if you're going with a licensed and bonded credit repair company, then you don't have, you're not going to lose any money, because you can just call the Attorney General. So that is the very first question. Number two, the processes that most credit repair companies take, again, is going to be a cookie cutter approach, right? They're going to make you send out your own letters, right? We're going to give you we're going to look at your report, and here's the letters that you need to send out and what it needs to say. What am I paying you for, right? It's kind of you going to the doctor and say, hey, I need heart surgery. Yeah, it's cool. Here's the tools, do heart surgery. Here, watch this YouTube channel. Here's how you do it. But I'm joking about that. But so most credit repair companies have a cookie cutter approach, which again, you can do yourself without paying anybody, right? You can print out these template letters or watch some YouTube videos and type in what they said and send it out. You're going to get about 20% of things off your credit doing that way, right? Now, the reason that we're able to remove about 85 to 90, almost 100% is because we don't take a cookie cutter approach. What happens with our clients, right? They call or when they get started with us, we're going to order a specific report, right? And it's going to come in the mail. We stay away from going online, all right? Going online works about 20% of the time. So you can click on buttons and, and you'll have 20%. But, even the blind squirrel finds the nut every now and then. All right. So what we do is we order a specific report. It comes in the mail uh, to our clients within 10 to 12 to 15 business days, right? Um, that's Alexa. Sorry about that. Alexa, pause. Sorry about that. But anyway, and I'm not editing any of this stuff out, by the way, because I wanted to, because this is really informational. I don't want to come across salesy, and then I just want you to have all the correct information, because that happened to me. I spent a lot of money, which I didn't have to. That money I could have been spent on something else. I did come across a lot of during finance, a lot of people would do the same thing. They would pay collections and then they'd come back to me and I'm like, well, your credit score is still tanked, even though you did go spend $3, $4, $5, $6,000 on paying collections, and they thought that was going to help. So paying collections again does not repair your credit. It's got to be permanently removed from your report in order for when you sit down with a finance manager or loan officer, they're going to look at your report and it's not going to be on your report anymore. All right. It's not going to say paid for less than amount due, which we'll talk about that. And debt consolidation, filing bankruptcy. We're going to cover those things too. What's the difference between those, and what does it do to your credit? But anyway, so our clients order a report, and then what happens is that report comes in the mail to our clients, and those are sent directly to our corporate office. Once we get those reports, we have a disputing department that's going to take about an hour and a half. We're going to go line by line, and we're going to find every violation of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Yes, that's a little bit more work than just clicking on a button or sending out the same template letter you send out for the last 1,000 clients. We make it personal because here's what we want to do. We want to get that client cleaned up as quick as possible, right? And a lot of our clients, and by the way, in addition to us being a credit repair company, we also do we're not just a credit repair company. We are a financial institution. We do commercial lending. So we have insurance companies. So we're just not a fly-by-night credit repair company. So our goal is to get clients cleaned up as fast as possible so we can help them get whatever they want. So we only charge our clients for 6 months, and then we give them 6 months free in case they're not totally cleaned up. In those 6 months, even if our clients totally cleaned up in the first 3 months, if something happens to them 9 months down the road, they just have to call us and we'll work on their credit report for free. All right. So we only charge for 6 months. All right. And a lot of times our clients ask, how fast is this going to, or how quick is this going to happen? And by the way, if any credit repair company ever tells you how fast it's going to take for them to clean up your credit, they're just flat out lying. There is no way to know how fast somebody's going to get cleaned up, and we'll cover why that is here in just a bit. But when those reports come in, our disputing department takes about an hour and a half. Now, here's the important key that the chief disputing officer of Experian told us. You've got to go after everything day one. Don't drag the process out, because then you're giving Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion a lot of time to look at 1 or 2 items, right? And to be able to verify those things. If you're sending 30 to 40 or 50, 60 violations from one report, and they only have so many, because the Fair Credit Reporting Act says they only have so many days to prove it, or they have to take it off of there. I was going to say something else, but there's a commercial that says that slogan, and I don't want to say it. But anyway, so if they can't prove it within the time frame that the Fair Credit Reporting Act says that they need to prove it, then they have to take it off of your report. So when you're sending in all these violations, or hey, these are the things that are wrong on this report, you have to prove these things, and you're sending every single thing, it makes it a little bit more difficult for them to. So if you're going to be doing it yourself, and you know what laws they violated from the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and you know how to word those, which it's really a full-time job. If somebody wants to repair their own credit and do it right, it really becomes a full-time job. So you literally would have to start studying and doing that. If I know how to change my own oil, I'd rather not do that. I'd rather spend time doing other things. So it really just depends on, hey, do I want to spend the time to do this correctly? Because there is an easy cookie cutter approach, and you might get percent, you might get 20% of things off your credit. But the way we do it and the way we were taught was that we're going to go after everything day one. Stay away from going online and clicking on buttons and clicking on dispute, and stay away from sending out template letters that you download from the internet. You have to take each individual report and look at it line by line and understand what violations, what can they prove, what can't they prove, because they have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was reported correctly, the amount's correct, your name is correct, the spelling is correct, the address is, and if they can't, they have to take it off your report. But again, it's the way you word it and the way you do it. All right. So if you're thinking of doing it yourself, make sure to go after every single thing that's on your report day one. Variations of names, addresses, old phone numbers, old jobs, everything. And that, by the way, that's the first thing we take off your report. The first thing we do is remove everything but your name that you have right now. So most people have about 15, 20 variations of names on their reports. But that's the first thing that we go under. So remember, paying it something that's already in collections does not repair your credit. So here's what happens a lot of times, and this was something that happened to one of our clients just a couple of days ago, right? They went into debt consolidation, right? Because they were having trouble paying. So they think, okay, I'm going to go into debt consolidation in order to get these collection debtors off my back, right? So what happens when you do that, and most of you guys know how that works, right? You're going to pay one company and they're going to negotiate, they're going to put money together, and they're going to start trying to pay these things off. When you do that, at the end of the process, you're still going to need credit repair. And here's the reason behind it. You're going to have late payments. You're going to have paid for less than the amount due on there. All things that don't increase your credit score, right? Those are all things that harm your credit score. And when you go to try to get a vehicle or a house, those mortgage companies or the loan officers are looking at, and this is the truth, right? That's like filing Chapter 13. I mean, that's what Chapter 13 is, right? You're going to be paying, it's going to keep the collection companies from trying to sue you. And by the way, most companies, because the way the laws are written now, and they've changed a couple of years ago, is that most companies don't go after and sue you because they can't garnish your wages in most states. They can't, a judgment's not good against your homestead. So there's so many laws that are written to protect you now against collection companies doing things that they're not supposed to be doing. Like, things are supposed to stay on your credit for 7 years. Sometimes you see it's been on there for 8, 9, 10 years because you keep resetting the clock. Maybe the collection company called you. The statute of limitations in most states is only 4 years. Some states are 5 and 6, but 6 years is the most. So, but most states are only 4 years, so that they can't call you anymore. They can't put it back on your report anymore. And we've seen reports where it was supposed to fall off in 7 years, and they still the customer started paying on the collection after 7 years, and that's just not going to help your credit score. Because here's how the system that gives you a credit score works. It doesn't read amounts. All right. And the easiest way to explain that is a zero balance on your credit report and a $5,000, a $50,000 balance that is a negative balance is the same thing. All right. The system doesn't read the zero. The system's only going to read, is this a good account? Is this a bad account? And how long is it going to be on your report? Right. So if you just reset that clock for 7 more years, so it's going to be on your report for 7 more years. Now your score is going to drop. So some people think, well, I'm going to pay my collections. Well, if you do, I mean, you're going to get good karma, but it's not going to help your credit score. It's going to drop your score more 99% of the time. It's also going to be on your report for 7 more years because you just pleaded guilty, right? And so you're saying that everything was correct. And then the other thing is that it's not going to help your credit score because it doesn't read the amounts. The only time that the system that gives you a score reads your amounts is if your open accounts, right? And the amounts that it's reading, it's your utilization. How much are you keeping your open accounts under 25%, under 20%? And by the way, with your open accounts, if you don't have any open accounts, you have to have revolving credit because your credit score is broke down in different sections, and the biggest part, of course, is your negative items, right? That's going to be the biggest impact. And then the other impact is going to be your open accounts. Are you paying them on time? Are you is your credit cards, are they under 25% of the limit, right? So are you understanding when is that credit card reporting and when are you paying it? So make sure you know the reporting and date and your payment date on your credit cards. Keep it under 25%. And if you notice, the score is going to your score is going to go up if you bring it under 25%. So when you're working on your credit, you're going to notice that even when you're working on your credit, here's a good thing. When you're working on your credit, there's nothing you can do to drop your score. That's it. I mean, if you're working on it, the worst credit repair company out there is working on it. If your score drops, there's something new on your credit report, or there's something new on your credit report, or the utilization on your open accounts is higher than 25% between those numbers. And everyone's different, so everyone's algorithm's different. So depending on your algorithm, you're just going to see your score fluctuate, right? So making sure that keeping your card under 25% is going to help your credit score. But anyway, so paying something that's in collections is not going to repair your credit. The other thing is whenever, if you're sitting down, oh, that's what we were talking about. We were talking about if you go into debt consolidation, it's almost like a chapter 13. So if let's say you're trying to do an FHA loan, right? Most mortgage companies are not going to do an FHA loan for you. You can do a conventional loan, but you won't do an FHA loan if you're in debt consolidation, because they're looking at it like a chapter 13. Those are almost the same thing. All right. So the best thing to do, and if you're with a debt consolidation company and your things are in collections, that's even worse, right? So that's the best thing to do when something goes into collections is find the violations and remove it from your credit report. Because if not, if you're saying the wrong things, it's gonna reset that clock for 70 more years. So there's so many things that need to come into play in order to repair your credit. All right. So paying the collections won't increase it. It won't increase your credit score. It's not repairing it. It's not helping your credit at all. Right. We can't legally tell you not to pay those, but we can tell you what happens if you do. Right. So if you put collections in debt consolidation, that's definitely, you're double wasting your money, because one is you're still going to need credit repair at the end of the process. Right. And by the way, we are able to remove bankruptcies, which most credit repair companies cannot. We're also able to remove inquiries, which most credit repair companies don't go after anymore, because those laws have changed as of a couple of years ago. As a matter of fact, a lot of credit repair companies don't know this, but when you dispute something for Experian, even though Experian's corporate office is in Allen, Texas, they send those disputes over to the country of Chile. And those people over there, most of them don't speak English, right? They speak a broken Spanish. So if you're not writing those dispute letters in a broken Spanish, it's probably not going to come off. So Experian is pretty difficult to be able to remove things off of their credit report. Okay. So again, I hope this video helped. And like I said in the beginning, there was two promises. Promise number one, this is the only video you're going to need. All right. So again, the recap is don't paying collections. If you're going to go after things yourself, make sure to don't use template dispute letters off the internet, right? Or if somebody company is sending you, or you're paying a company and they're sending you letters. So number one, make sure that the company's going after everything day one. All right. Everything. All right. Number two, that they're not going online and because that is not going to permanently remove it. If that company says they're going online, click on a dispute, you can do that yourself. All right. Make sure that they're actually sitting down and looking at your report and going line by line. So make sure to ask them that. Number three, make sure that they have a 7-year guarantee, because things fall off after 7 years, that if anything comes back after they remove it, that they will remove it for no cost at all, which we do, by the way. Now, my promise to you, like I said in the first one, is this is the only video you're going to need, right? That's the second promise I will make you. And if you fast forward and you watch this now, I would recommend you watch the rest of the information on here, is that if we cannot remove it off your credit report, there is no sense in spending any more time on that particular item, or paying anyone else to try to remove it, because if we can't remove it, it's not going to come off. That is a permanent thing that's going to be on your record. So again, because we try every single thing, every avenue, we don't take shortcuts, and we come with a 7-year guarantee. We're licensed and bonded with the Attorney General. We're red flag compliant with the Federal Trade Commission. And again, Me myself, I've been in the finance industry in a long time. I walked away from the finance industry to just do solely this and help people with their credit. I believe in it. We've helped and it's a great feeling whenever somebody goes from a 580 to a 750 to qualify for their house. They're qualifying for the, and there, there is good credit repair companies out there. So if you find one that's licensed and bonded, that's going after everything they want, they're not trying to drag the process out. They charge you only for 6 months and they give you 6 months free, or maybe they charge you for 3 months and they give you 9 months free. As long as it's not a long drawn out, hey, it's a no end in sight. You're going to pay us until we get, or until you get tired of paying us. Make sure it's not one of those programs. And if you're going after it yourself, make sure to understand the federal laws and the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Again, my name is Joe. I'm a credit repair expert, and I hope you guys are having a blessed day. And by the way, this video is going to be in several places. So if you guys have any questions, you can click on the link below, above, somewhere in the description. And again, if we can't get it off, there's no sense in paying anybody else, or also spending any more time, because it's just not going to come off of your report. That usually doesn't happen. But if it's one of those things that, hey, it's just not going to come off, we're going to let you know. We're able to remove 35 of these items, but this last one is not going to come off. It's going to be permanently on your report for another 24 months, 36 months, whatever it is. All right. All right, you guys have a great day. I hope that helps. And we will talk to you guys soon. Again, if you guys want a free consultation, just no obligation, just go ahead and send us a message or click on the link and book the time. And we will talk to you guys soon.
Need credit repair? Then contact our professional and friendly team to learn more about our range of custom and tailored services designed to suit your exact needs. Every one of our professionals have acquired years of experience, which ensures you get the very best. Our experienced staff are waiting to hear from you and to answer any specific questions that you may have on how we can meet your needs. Just ask for a consultation and let us prove our commitment to you, as we promise to maintain the highest level of quality and commitment. Your satisfaction is our prime concern. So please don't hesitate to get in contact with us and let us show you all the great options we have.